Whether it's your family, your friends, or your team at work, our lives are basically built around groups. But what are the invisible forces that make them tick? What makes them form? What holds them together? And what makes them fall apart? Well, that's what we're going to dig into. But first, just take a second and think about it. How many groups are you a part of? I mean, really think. Family, close friends, coworkers, maybe a book club, a sports team, even an online gaming community. See? You're probably in way more than you first thought. And that's because they are absolutely fundamental to who we are. So that brings up a really important question. What's the real difference between a group and just a bunch of people standing around? Because believe me, there's a huge difference, and it's key to understanding everything else. Look at it this way. On the left, you've got a football team in a huddle. Every single person has a role, they depend on each other, and they all have one clear common goal: win the game. Now look at the audience on the right. Sure, they're all in the same place, but they're just a collection of individuals. They aren't working together on anything. One is a group, the other is a crowd. And here's the more formal definition, which really nails it. A group is an organized system, and the keywords here are interacting and interdependent. You have to rely on each other. You're driven by common motives, and you're guided by a shared set of roles and unwritten rules, or norms. That right there, that's the stuff that turns a crowd into an actual group. Okay, so why? Why do we even bother? Why are humans so incredibly drawn to joining and forming groups in the first place? Well, it turns out it's pretty much hardwired into our DNA. It satisfies some of our absolute deepest needs. For starters, there's safety in numbers, right? Groups give us security. They can also give us status and a real boost to our self-esteem. They fulfill those deep social needs we all have for belonging and connection. And on a totally practical level, groups help us achieve things we could never, ever do alone. Plus, they expose us to new information and different ways of seeing the world. It's a pretty powerful package. So we know why we join groups, but how do they actually get started? It's not totally random. It turns out there are a few key ingredients that almost always need to be there to get a group off the ground. First off, there's proximity. I mean, it's simple, right? We tend to form groups with the people we're physically around a lot, our coworkers, our neighbors. Then you've got similarity. We are just naturally drawn to people who think like us, who share our interests. It makes us feel validated. And finally, a really powerful one, a common goal. Nothing brings people together like having a shared mission to accomplish. Now, once a group actually forms, it doesn't just start working perfectly right away. Oh no, it's more like a living thing. It has to grow and develop. And there's a really famous roadmap for this journey, developed by a psychologist named Bruce Tuckman. It all starts with the forming stage. This is where everyone's polite, little awkward, and nobody's really sure what's going on. Then comes storming, and yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. This is the conflict stage, where people clash over control and ideas. If the group survives that, it moves into norming, where they start to agree on rules and build a real identity. That leads to performing, where the group is finally a well-oiled machine, focused on getting the job done. And for many groups, there's a final stage, adjourning. The project's over, and it's time to say goodbye. Okay, so let's say a group makes it to that performing stage. Inside that group, there are these powerful, almost invisible structures that are running the show, telling people how to act. If you want to understand a group, you have to understand these hidden rules. So what are these invisible forces exactly? What's the secret architecture holding the whole thing together? Well, it really boils down to 4 key elements. First up, you've got roles. A role is basically the set of expected behaviors that comes with a certain position. Think about the leader, the note-taker, or the funny guy. We all understand what's expected of them, and that creates a sense of order and predictability. Next, we have norms. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Norms are the unspoken rules. They're the standards of behavior that everyone just kind of agrees to without ever writing them down. It's how you know how to dress, how to talk, and how to act to fit in. Then there's status. This is all about the social pecking order, the hierarchy within the group. Some status is given to you, maybe because you're the most senior person, that's ascribed. And some status is achieved. You earn it through your skills or contributions. It basically determines who has influence. And finally, cohesiveness. This is that magic glue, that team spirit, that we feeling that binds everyone together and makes them want to stay in the group. And while that sounds amazing, and it usually is, that intense feeling of togetherness can have a really, really dark side. Because that same powerful force of cohesion, that feeling of being a tight-knit unit, it can actually push a group to make some truly disastrous decisions. A psychologist named Irving Janis was one of the first to really pinpoint this danger. He warned that the very thing that makes a group feel strong, that cohesion, can also become its biggest blind spot. He gave this dangerous phenomenon a name: groupthink. So what is groupthink? It's what happens when the pressure to agree, to maintain harmony, becomes so overwhelming that it completely crushes critical thinking. No one wants to be the one to rock the boat, so people who have doubts just stay silent. The desire for everyone to be on the same page overrides the need to make a smart, rational choice.
But here's the good news. You can fight it. Groupthink is preventable. The trick is to actively push against that pressure for everyone to agree. Leaders need to encourage dissent, even reward it. You should make it a rule to explore different options. Bring in outside experts who don't have the same biases, and tell your team members to go talk to people outside the group to get fresh perspectives.
Which really leaves us with one final and I think incredibly important question to ask about every single group you're in, from your family to your workplace. Is the main goal to encourage agreement, or is it to encourage the search for truth? Because the answer to that question changes everything.